Hey everybody, this is Robert Hebert with RM Hebert LLC Consulting. Today I have Mr. Washington Smith. Welcome. How you doing, my friend? That's
Good,
good.
good, good.
Glad you're here. We're talking today about business consulting and aspects of business consulting. I want to really get into get people's opinions on the questions that we ask our clients before they start. People pay us to do feasibility, total quality management aspects of the of consulting. They hire us to prevent them from making the costly mistakes. So they instead of going out and making $100,000 mistake that should have been foreseen, they have us do all of the research, the market analysis, the percentages, feasibility reports, total quality management, many other variables, and do a support aspect as well after the business is set up, so we can help you from startup to running a successful and efficient business.
Right.
So the number one question that I always ask anybody, and this boils down to not only about business, but it also boils down to if it's my dog, sorry, whether they're on a diet, whether they're trying to do a fitness goal, or a sports goal, what have you, anything that you want to achieve in life, it boils down to how committed are you.
Right.
And we talk about this in many aspects, from investments to business success to, we talked about initially weight goals, because everybody goes on diets, it seems like, in January. I promise I'm going to be, my slim bikini body by this time. And, is that true? I don't know, because how committed are you? And what are your opinions on it? Do you think that that's a good question for us to ask our clients? Because a lot of these people want to jump in with their feet planted firmly in the air, and
That's
they see the money and they don't think about the day-to-day maintenance.
so that's a good segue there, because when you look on the way how they look towards that interaction and what they expect is where that commitment is gonna fall. Because, for instance, if when a client calls you in and said that I need your help, well, the expectancy is by tomorrow morning you're going to make things happen, right?
Wave my magic wand.
Wave your magic wand, and things are great off the bat, and it's good.
Mhm.
What they're not understanding is that this is normally an overall, because the concept that they had is the reason why we actually need the service, because it runs everything in the ground. Or you're struggling, one
That's
of the
right.
two. So you find that you have to have the mindset that this is going to be a process.
Amen.
This process is going to literally need me to take a step back, look at what's actually happening, and after looking what's happening, make it a mental process that says I'm going to accept what I'm getting.
Amen. I mean, people see it perfect because a lot of people I see aren't shy about putting in 90 hours a week or 100 hours a week or whatever it takes to succeed in whatever endeavor they choose to go after. But the problem is just because you're putting 100% effort doesn't mean you're putting the effort in the right place. If you need to focus on, if you did your research and you know that market share is the place that you need to be, but you're putting 100% of your effort into face-to-face contact, but you're not giving it any effort whatsoever to promotion and explaining, communicating effectively as to why you're better than your competition. You're putting all the effort in, but you're not putting it in the correct location. So
Right.
it's kind of like, you're trying to stay afloat, so you're kicking your feet, but you're not moving your arms and you're sinking.
And you're right when you said not putting the focus in the right place, because, for instance, if you're competing with the business next door, and the business next door have the right strategy
Yep.
and executing, you don't, you only see them growing, and you're going after what they have with the wrong mentality, and all you're doing is bleeding your profits, and you're not finding yourself in a bind.
That's right. It's about becoming the most effective you can be. You're absolutely right. And that's the problem with a lot of people is, I always, I speak to them blue in the face about perspective is stronger than truth, because when you're talking about market share, if you're all selling the same kind of a widget, what's going to make you or set you aside from anyone else? And your commitment is vital because you have to maintain that forward momentum that I always talk about. Hey, we're achieving momentum. I don't want to jeopardize that momentum because it takes time to get that gain. And then when you're gaining, the last thing you want to do is do anything that might slow it down.
Right.
You don't want to take your foot off the gas pedal. And that's a really, really tough thing because the perception is that, hey, look, we're achieving something. I can take a breather, and that's true and not true depending on where you're succeeding.
There you go. Because you may see that even in your consulting, you see things start turning around.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing customers coming through the door, and you're saying, okay, I'm paying my consultant X amount.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now getting customers. It's now time for me to cut loose.
That's right.
What happened is that you didn't realize the process wasn't completed because you weren't committed in the first place. You just want to see a few more customers to make you feel good.
Amen.
The
Amen.
problem is, if you had stuck it out?
That's right.
You no longer just only have a few more customers.
That's
You
right.
have an abundance of customers, and your business now take off to places that you weren't expecting it to be.
See, and that's another beautiful point because what people don't realize is that a successful business is about hiring people to do things that you don't want to do.
Right.
And not waiting to a point where you get that forward momentum, then let those people go and try to focus on everything yourself. Because if you're not doing what you like, you're not going to be able to maintain that effort.
True.
So if you're succeeding because you have outsourced to people like me and you, but you get a little arrogant for that because you have a little taste of success. You let us go, and then you focus on trying to do it all yourself. Well, you've eliminated the variable that helped you gain forward momentum in the first place, and those are things that always need to be maintained. We always are you clearly communicating the value of what you do, and I always talk about that. I don't use those terms. We use those terms for professional reasons, but me personally, I always put it in, have I set the expectation?
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what we do, Washington and I go back, and my biggest thing for me is it doesn't matter if I had my lawn mowed this morning or I am doing a multi-million-dollar business deal. If there are expectations that need to be set. This is what they expect from me. They expect to get paid.
Right.
And then I expect this service. I expect you to mow my lawn, weed whack, blow. Whatever the job is that you're doing, whatever you're trying to achieve, there are two sides to the expectations. And if those aren't addressed, then you are setting yourself up for failure. If you're taking your wife out to dinner, sweetheart, in the back of your mind, let's just be real. You're going to need to bring a snowmobile suit because she's definitely going to be cold. You're going to need 72 is freezing to her, and you gotta set these expectations. So you always bring it to be the gentleman that you love your wife or your significant other, and you bring the jacket or the sweater, even though she may or may not have asked. You do what you need to do to set the expectation to have a nice evening. Mm-hmm. There's expectations on both sides for everything that we do. And if we don't set those, then no wonder there are miscommunications, and no wonder there are people that are disappointed. People get disappointed because there are not clear expectations. If you're going out to have fun with somebody, you're going out to the movies, what do I expect? Well, the movie starts at this time, so I would hope that you arrive at this time. We meet here at this place, and who's paying, what's paying, are we paying for each other? We have to set the expectations, and because people fail to do those things, they fail to clearly communicate their value. They take things they assume. An assumption means ask of you and me. You never want to assume anything. Is that what you want to do?
But on the same line of being committed
Mm-hmm.
to your business, you have to remember that most folks who start a business, they don't just start it just to make money. They actually start because of the passion of what they're doing. And
wait a minute. So you run a different circle than I do.
So
Most people that come to me that hire me, they're always thinking about money.
no, they do think about money.
Because
right?
they should start a business the way you think.
Right. So you'll find most people who said, I start this business because I just really love it. right? It's a passion. It's something that I really want to
And
do.
that's the first step. They should have that.
That's right. But if you start your business and say, my business is for me to make money, I just want to make money, and I see this as a good idea,
Yep.
right? That's two different business strategy right there.
Absolutely. One's a success, one's a failure.
Right.
Right.
So
Before you even get started.
So first of all, the one who has a passion for that business is willing to go down in the nitty gritty to get it done. They're committed
Whatever
to
it
whatever it
takes.
takes.
Yep.
And then the one that just want to make this extra money is like, well, I just start this business up to make some extra dollars.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So I just want to do something quick to bring it up.
That's right.
So the commitment actually starts from the moment that business think of an existence.
That's right. Is it? And see, that goes off with what you said, because Washington is 100,000% right on this. You have to ask yourself about the commitment, but is it worth your time? Is what you're doing worth the effort that you're going to have to put? And I mean effort as resources, as your money, as your time. Is it worth the time away from your family? What are we doing, and does it have value? Is it going to bring value to you and what's important to you? Your family, your kids, your future.
Right.
Yeah, everything that we do, there has to be a value added, and everything is about perception. So, I could be preaching until I'm blue in the face about, I can't tell you how many times I've talked investments with people, and all they hear is the numbers, the big numbers.
Yes.
And they don't hear, we might have to do this, we might have to do that, and they don't hear the negatives or the tough times. They only see or hear, oh my goodness, I'm going to make $1 zillion off a buck. Not really, but I'm just saying. They only hear the positive aspects, and that selective hearing is limiting them and misrepresenting the expectations that we all set.
And also detrimental to the relationship, for us trying
Very
to
much so.
get them to the place that they really want to be. And when you have that conversation, so remember that in our discussion, these are the things that we went over.
Amen.
They will go, I didn't remember that. I didn't hear that.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. I can say you sit there, you could talk about for 3 hours, and then the person only heard that one thing, and next thing you know, oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Of course you
I
did.
didn't hear that because I only heard that you're gonna make me $500 extra each month.
Yeah, see, I have to record all of those sessions. But it's interesting because I want to have this talk with me in Washington every week, and just have an open talk, not about the specific do's and don'ts of business. What makes me different? What makes you different? What sets you aside? I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people that wanted to start a pizza shop, and not that I'm against pizza shops, but the bottom line is that ask yourself this question: would I rather have, if you're going to start up a business, is it more important for you to have 0.0001% of a $1 billion business, or would you rather have 25% of a $40 million business? And if we think about that, yes, it's kind of a catch-22 because the numbers are actually the same. If you 25% of a $40 million represents the same number as 0.0001 of a $1 billion business. But my point being is, if you jump into the $1 billion business, what percentage share do you have? 0.0001. What is the opportunity for growth in a $1 billion business? If you got 20 pizza shops in a 5-mile geographical area, versus something unique and creative in the $40 million industry that's an emerging market, you have an unlimited room for growth with the 25% of that market versus a saturated market where everybody's already saying better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. You know what I mean? So we have to ask ourselves about, my biggest downside and plus is I think too much.
Right.
I'm an intellectual, and I try to reach that level, and I want to share this with everybody.
Well, the thing about it is that's what makes you great, though. The person that thinks as much as you do, because
it's exhausting.
The thing about it is when you have someone like Bob that comes in and sit down with you, he's not just taking what you're telling him that is your problem. The moment you're giving him your problem, he already 10 weeks down the road looking at how this problem is resolved. And that's what an intellectual does in this situation when you're talking about my situation, and they're already seeing how it's resolved. And this is why you want to be committed to the process, because you have to get from where you are, go through all the stages. And I always think there's 7 stages to everything, because
Exactly.
you have to go from test 0, then to stage 1,
Yeah.
then make it to 2, and all the in between point fives, and
Exactly, but
just
the
to
problem
get
is
there.
you have to be, you can't get any right than that. But what we have to go elaborate a little bit more, because we're talking to an average individual
Right.
going from 0 to 7.
Hmm.
You have to be ready, and I always use CRS, which is comprehension, retention, support. You have to be ready consciously, and you have to be aware that you are ready to graduate, if you will, from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, because too many people want to rush through things. They want to just get it done to get it done. And so you start up a business, you're at 0, and you don't give any thought whatsoever to all of the tasks that need to be committed. Marketing, you need to set up budget. What about a safety net? What about an EPP plan, which is an emergency preparedness plan? You have to set up feasibility reports, total quality management studies. You have to adapt. Some of these things can only take 2 or 3 minutes, because if you're just starting a business, it's not like you have to really, it's what you need to do is focus on each step and understand that, okay, we've done marketing, we've done this, everything that I can think of is done, and now I'm ready to go to 2. But too many people jump through it, rush through it, and then they wonder why they fail. Because if there are 7 steps, take your time to make sure that you're walking forward on solid ground.
Right.
Every step is on solid ground. And too many people have their feet, as you always hear me say, planted firmly in the air. And
Right.
in order to have a successful anything, it's not just about business, but everything from a family life to friends. You have to communicate effectively and set those expectations and be ready to say, yeah, I'm ready to move to step 2, to step 3.
Right.
And because I can't agree with you more, there has to be steps
Right.
involved in the growth, and we can't grow if we can't self-analyze and be real with ourselves and honest with ourselves and say, am I ready to move to step 2? Are we ready to go to marketing? Are we ready to take this options public? Are we, am I ready to do this? And if you can't give yourself a self check with an honest answer,
Right.
then if you're not ready to be honest with yourself in the business, then you should not do it.
And
Back out.
that is really important right there. It's
Mm-hmm.
for you to come to the realization that you have to be truthful in a
That's right.
consultation.
That's right.
If you put up the front to make it looks good, like, I'm doing all right, but I just want to do a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're doing really bad,
Mm-hmm.
and you really want to do much better than what you're doing, because it's really bad.
And you gotta have that
You
self.
try to sugarcoat it.
That's right.
It's to get help. First, you have to acknowledge that I have a
Amen.
problem.
And that's just, see, we feed off each other, because I'm going off of what he just said, because what he said was so true. Is when you're in business and you're trying, perception is stronger than the truth. You have an idea. A lot of people don't understand the depth of perception being stronger than the truth. They get the concept, and so what they try to do is they try to create an image, and saying, hey man, we're doing fantastic, when in actuality they just had a customer 3 months ago. Or they're trying to create this persona of success, when in reality they really need your help. They really need, but they're not willing or open to get assistance, because they don't want to admit that they're not doing as well, or they're not at the stage that they were hoping to be at.
Right.
And the bottom line is welcome to the world. We're all that way.
True.
In certain aspects, and we all need help. I can't tell you how many times that I've had a disappointing decision, but I'm going to call my friend up Washington and tell him the cold hard truth, even though he's going to sit there and put his handprint will be in the phone, because he's like me and he doesn't understand the why. And one thing I've had to let go, because he's so right, is if I'm sitting there focused on the why, I'm missing so many aspects to the whole dimension, because it's not for me to understand certain aspects of the why. I need to understand my role in this.
That's it.
And once I understand my role in this decision making process, it helps the stress level go down a lot. But because you're absolutely right, we have to understand our positions and what we're willing to do, and are we, we keep going back, how committed are we to achieving the goal? Because we're too focused on the why or this, the how, and we need to be focused on the big picture, not the dot in the center or the bottom left side, if you will.
And even in that process, one of the things is when you're having that consultation with someone, is for them also to, you find that you will have the person that try to ask you all the questions, because they figure from the answer that you give them, they can take the information you've provided and go make it happen. Right?
Exactly.
And I mean, you've seen the electrician out there on the power pole,
Yeah.
and you watch them, and that makes you become an electrician, and you go out there and get hit with 5,000 volts.
Oh, board certified, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you find that you also have those clients that they ask you a ton of questions, and you give them answers, and they figure, okay, from these answers,
For free, by the way.
that's for free, and they figured, now I have a plan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to run with this plan.
Okay.
And then they go down the road, and then they call you back a couple of months later and say, listen, I'm still in the same position.
Yeah.
Right? While you were there, where they could be reaping the benefits of you being there from the first place.
That's right. That's
they
right.
haven't left zero yet; they're still at zero.
Yeah, they don't understand the value added of hiring a consultant. A consultant only charges an hourly fee for consulting, but when you hire for a project, it's other things, of course. But if you wanted me to consult with you,
Right.
the value added is, $40 for this is much more cost effective than a $10,000 mistake. I personally have 30 years in the industry, and so I could save a lot of mistakes that I've made. I can save you the money because I've already made those mistakes.
Right.
And it's the biggest thing is to, when you're talking about, we keep going back to the commitment. How committed are you? When Washington and I are discussing this in a very open forum type way, and I like that, is we have to understand that things aren't always what you expect. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I can't tell you how many discussions I've had with my friend here, and I'm as frustrated as can be about what's going on, and and he talks me off the ledge, so to speak, and vice versa, because things happen. If they're meant to happen, if you're doing them right and they're meant to happen, they happen. We set up new businesses and they're meant to happen. Sometimes they take 2 days, sometimes they take 5 weeks, but they happened. So things that are meant to happen, as they're supposed to, and they fall into place. And for us to question that aspect is really pointless at this stage. What we want to do is bring you in and have real conversations about what it takes, because like Washington brought up a great point. I mean, I've had people come in and pick my brain as a friend, and next thing you know, literally they open up a business just down the street,
Right.
and then they're failing miserably, and because they only asked 5 questions out of the 30 that needed to be asked to get to the stage that they were at, and it's just, we always want to achieve and help each other grow. But what I want to end on today is for business consulting. And business consulting, in consulting in general, is about tactics, strategies, and positions. It's not just about business, because people say, well, this is not relevant to me because I'm not starting a business. And that's not true, because the strategies and mindsets that we use every day, it doesn't matter if you have a fitness goal. It doesn't matter if you have a goal to be a better father, a better friend, a better husband. Whatever you want to do, the tactics, strategies, and positions are the same. The mindsets are the same. You still have to ask yourself before you lift that dumbbell, how committed am I? True. Before you have these meals and you're planning out your groceries, how committed am I to this diet? You have to ask yourself when you look at your wife when she's sleeping, and how committed am I? It's the same thing with your children. So every tactic, strategy, and position that we use in business is relevant to everything that each one of us does every day. And I want us to all support each other with that aspect. Learn it, commit ourselves to it, and create a forum where we can be a part of this together. Because, I don't want people just to say, oh, that's business consulting, that's not relevant. It's 100% relevant to every aspect of our life and everything we do. Learning how to set expectations is critical. Learning how committed we are is critical. So absolutely it's relevant. Join us every week. This is my friend Washington Smith, also senior vice president of the company. So I just want to, it's kind of a setup, but we were having a good conversation, so I wanted to video it. But always remember that how committed are you for consulting? How committed are you to whatever project you want to achieve in your life? And then we start talking about market shares and percentages. I always talk about tactics, strategies, and positions. Let's get into it together. Check out our website at hebertllc.com. It's our new website. We're on Instagram at Robert Hebert 4 for TikTok, Robert Hebert 84 for Instagram, Robert Hebert LLC for LinkedIn. Heck, we're on every social media you can think of.
That's it.
YouTube is Robert Hebert LLC, RM Hebert LLC. Check us out on our latest new videos, and look forward to it. Also subscribe to our website when you go on. You have the best day ever, everyone. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care.
And make the call.
Make the call.